Hello guys, welcome. This is the exploratory data analysis task 3 for the Spark Foundation Grip internship. So let us start by downloading the dataset and reading the CSV. I have imported the required libraries over here, and over here we are reading the CSV. With the data frame.head, let us try and understand the various rows and columns in this data frame. So we have ship mode, segment, country, city, state, postal code, region, category, subcategory, sales, quantity, discount, and profit. Um, Out of which I think country is just United States across the entire data frame, and the postal code is not going to give us much information, so we will be dropping it off in the future. To begin with, let's check the shape of this data frame to tell us how many rows and columns it has. We see that it has around 9,900 plus rows and 13 columns. The info tells us about the data types and whether or not there are any non-null values. So what we can see, which is also confirmed here, that this data set does not have any null values in its data frame. So over here we are dropping the country and postal code, like I mentioned before. This is because it's not going to add any valuable input in our analysis. Let's go ahead and check the numerical columns, which are sales, quantity, discount, and profit. Over here we can see that the minimum for discount is 0. The maximum is around 80%. Quantity ranges from 1 to 14, but profit ranges very drastically from minus 6,500 to 8,300, and that's the same with sales. So 0 is fine, but the maximum and the 75th percentile have a lot of discrepancies, which indicate that there might be outliers in this data. So let us begin with the univariate analysis. Over here we are trying to understand the ship mode across profit and sales. So the code here helps us understand that the first class ship mode stands out when compared against profit, and it's somewhat second when compared against sales. The second class stands out in sales. Let us now do this analysis with the segment. Home office is highest when compared with profits and also with sales. So sales and profit of the home office segment stands out high. Okay, so next we are checking for region. Let me write region over here to help us understand better. So profit by region and sales by region. So we can see that the West is highly profitable, and South and East both have almost similarly high sales, but there's not much discrepancy. The sales seem to be going fairly well or fairly equal in all of the 4 regions. The Central, however, is experiencing less profit. So it would seem that the sales are high, but the profits are still less for the Central region. Moving on to the bivariate analysis. What I've done here is I've taken a pivot of category and subcategory. So I wanted to understand for which category, what are the subcategories which have a certain profit and which are highly discounted. So in order to do that, I have taken a pivot, but it felt better having a representation. So I've done this in Tableau, as you all can see. So it's very easy to understand here that for furniture category and tables, the sales seem to be pretty high, but there's a very huge loss that is incurring. Similarly for Um, Similarly, for supplies, in office supplies, um, sales are pretty okay, but we are still incurring some losses there. And our highly profitable ones are copiers and technology, where the sale is in fact low or less compared to the others, but we are highly profitable, um, and so on. The next bivariate analysis is the similar pivot table across the regions and state. So for every region, what state shows what numerical attributes. So there's another pivot which shows us that information. So you can see for central region in the Texas state, as compared to the sales, the losses are quite high. Or for New York, the sale and profit both are high. For California, again, the sale and profit both are high. So the tableau gives us a much better representation, which I've also copied into this Jupyter notebook. Moving ahead, I wanted to check for what discount the profit seems to be dipping down. So this is a line plot or a line chart of profit versus discount. And if you can see at around 25%, 24% or so, the profit starts going, like it cuts the x-axis and goes below zero, and it is now completely dipping. So it's lowest at 50%, and it somewhat increases again at around 60, but it's still not in the profit zone. It's still in the loss area, or it's still below the it's still in the negative values. So what we can see is the optimum or the highest profit is at 10%, and we can still experience profits well below 25%. So moving on to multivariate analysis. Here I'm comparing profit versus sales, and I'm doing it for region. So this is, I'm comparing three parameters here. So if this is visible, so you can see that there is a lot of central area that shows up below the zero line, or in the negative hemispheres, sorry, negative quadrants. Yeah. So central and southern regions seem to be more prominent here, and the east and west regions seem to be more prominent in the profit making area. Similarly, for categories, we have technology somewhere in both the zones. It's highly profitable as well as it's incurring some losses, but mostly this is clustered around zero, like no profit and no loss, like kind of at cost for furniture. And we have a lot of loss incurring office supplies category. There are some which have huge losses. Those are from technologies, and we'll see what is causing those losses as well. Let us now check for outliers. So over here, I'm analyzing the profit variable, and if you check the percentiles, I've taken from 0, 10, 20, 50, and so on, and I'm kind of analyzing densely over the last 10%, right? So 95, 99, and 1. So if you see, the 95th and 99th percentile still are quite closer, but from the 99th percentile to the 100th percentile, there's a huge jump. So it's very steep. So it tells us that there are huge outliers here, which is also evident from this box plot. Same as with the sales. You can see that for profit, we can also see that the 10th percentile and the 0th percentile also show similar outliers. So the outliers lie on both sides of this box plot. For sales, we have we can again see a drastic increase from the 99th percentile to the 100th percentile, which is evident from this box plot again. So it is fair to say that sales and profit both have outliers. Let's cap these outliers within the 5th and 99th percentile. So what I've taken is profit as a reference, and we're taking somewhere uh, between the 0th and the 10th percentile. So it was safe to take 5th, I guess, and 5th and 99th. So these are the capping points. And now you can see from this box plot that though we have not capped the entire range of profit that we have seen, but it is fairly visible now. And this is the box plot for the sales. Let's now move on to analyzing the highest losses. So for the losses, what I have done is sorted the data frame by profit and kept ascending equals true, which would force the least value to come on top. And I've taken only 20 such values. So we are going to analyze the highest loss incurring vehicles in this data frame. Why 20? It's just an arbitrary number. I think top 30, top 40 can also be analyzed. I felt it better to analyze only the top 20. Yeah, I can do this. So for this new data frame, what I've done is I've taken a pivot table again for category and subcategory and summed it and kept profit with ascending equals true. So we can see the highest losses in that order. Right? And this is again represented in this bar plot. This is in the reverse direction because these are all negative values, and the highest, so the lowest value would be our highest loss. It seems counterintuitive, but since we are calculating it in a negative, as a negative integer, this is how it is represented. You can see that the eastern region has the highest loss, followed by the western region. Similarly, for highest profits, I have taken the original data frame and sorted it in descending order, and then taken the first 20. Let me again read this. Initially, I had taken top 10, but that did not seem sufficient enough data. So I'm taking top 20 now. Right. So in this chart, again, we can see that the central region has the highest profits, followed by the western region, which is again abundant from here. So if you see these two pivot tables, we can see that technology is highest in the loss and technology is highest in the profit. What is also admirable to see is that technology machines also makes the cut in highly profitable vehicles, and technology machines is one of the most loss incurring category and subcategory pair. The only difference here is the amount of discounts that is given. This is um, this is a 300% discount which has been given, and over here there's no discount. So when the technology machines are not discounted, we are making a fairly larger profit with around the same quantity. So it's fair to compare these two because the quantities are quite similar, and the discount here is very high, and it shows us that we are incurring a lot of loss on these sales. So this is the analysis. The inferences would be: the store has copiers and technology as their best sellers. Binders and office supplies are both highly profitable and highly loss incurring. Machines in technology category are also in both highly profitable and highly loss incurring. The only significant difference, like I mentioned, is the discount that is being offered. So this chart also supports the same argument that if any product is highly discounted, it's causing the sale to turn into a loss, or if it's causing our sale to not incur as much profit as it would have if the discounts were kept below 25 or below 30%. I have also marked the states and the regions that show the pattern which I mentioned. Ohio and Colorado are seeing more losses. Indiana and Washington are seeing huge profits. Similarly with the regions that show up in the graph. Thank you.